Jai Hind children. In the last class we have discussed about types of animal tissues. Of that we studied about the first one is epithelial tissues and different types of epithelial tissues and their functions. Then after that we studied about the type of connective tissues and important connective tissues such as blood, bone, cartilage, etc. I hope all of you read the textbook thoroughly. Today we are going to discuss about another two more important animal tissues. They are the muscular tissues and nervous tissues. First one is about muscular tissue. So muscular tissue. Muscular tissue consists of, you know that a tissue is what? It's a group of cells. So muscular tissue also consists of group of cells, and each cell of muscular tissue is known as muscle fibers. Muscle fibers, or it is also known as myofibers, or it is also known as myocytes. So each muscle cells are known as muscle fibers or myofibers or myocytes. Then in human beings there are 639 muscular tissues are there. In human beings there are 639 muscular tissues are there. Then what is its function? What is its function? Its function is, that is, this muscular tissue is responsible for the movement of human body. To help in the movement. So, muscular tissue is responsible for the movement in human body. So, how this movement occurs? That is another question. How these muscles are moving? That is, in these muscles, there is a special type of proteins present, and that proteins are called contractile proteins. That proteins are called contractile proteins, and the contraction and relaxation of this protein is responsible for the movement of muscles in our body. So once again, muscular tissue, that is muscle tissues. These muscle tissues are made up of group of cells, and each cell of muscular tissue is known as muscle fibers, or it is known as myofibers, or we can say that each cell has what? Myocytes. And in human body there are 639 muscles are there. 639 muscles. Then what is its function? Function of this muscular tissue? It is responsible for movement in body. Then how this movement occur? Because of the presence of a specialized protein present in these muscles. They are called contractile proteins. Because of the contraction and relaxation of these proteins is responsible for the movement of muscles. Next is about the type of muscular tissue. Types. Depending upon their structure and function, there are three types of muscular tissues. They are, one is striated muscular tissues, or it is known as voluntary muscular tissue, or it is also known as skeletal muscular tissues. Then another type is unstriated, or it is known as involuntary muscular tissue. And the third one is cardiac muscles. So these are the three types of muscular tissues. Based on their structure and functions, there are three types of muscular tissues. They are striated or voluntary muscles, or it is also known as skeletal muscles. The second one is unstriated or involuntary muscles, and the third one is cardiac muscles. So first one is about striated muscles. So based on what? Based on their structure and function. The first one is striated muscles. So striated muscle fibers, these are also known as voluntary muscles. Why? These are also known as voluntary muscles because these are move according to the will of a person. Will of a person. That means these muscles move according to the will of a person. So it is called voluntary muscles. Then these muscles are also known as skeletal muscles. Why it is known as skeletal muscles? Because these muscles are seen, that is attached to the bones. Attached to the bones and help in the movement of body. Help in the movement of body. Movement of body. So it is called as skeletal muscle because it is seen always attached to the bones and help in the movement of body. So it is also called what? Skeletal muscles. Then it is also known as striated muscles. Why? Because these muscles are, in these muscle cells, we can see that there is alternate light and dark bands. Light and dark bands. Or we can say it as striations. Striations. Okay. So this is also called striated muscles. So once again, these are called voluntary muscles because that can move only to the will of whom? The will of that particular person. These muscles can move according to the will of a person. Then second one is, it is also known as skeletal muscles. Why it is known as skeletal muscles? Because they are attached to the bones and help in the body movement. Then they are also called striated muscles because striations are present in these cells, that is alternate light and dark bands, or striations are present in each cell. So it is called striated muscles. Then look at the structure of these striated muscles. The structure of this striated muscles. Look at the figure here. It consists of elongated tubular structures. Elongated, cylindrical. Each cell is elongated, cylindrical in nature, and also we can see that light and dark bands. Like this, light and dark, alternate light and dark bands. Like this. Dark band, light band, like that, alternate light and dark band. So it is called striated muscles. And also nucleus. It is multinucleated. That means many nucleus is present in each cell. So it is multinucleated. So what is the structure of these muscle fibers of the striated muscles? They are long, then cylindrical, then unbranched. There is no branch. So unbranched, and it is multinucleated. So that is the structure of these muscle fibers. Look at the figure here also. Understood? So that's about the striated muscle. Then one more point, where we can see these striated muscles, that is found in the voluntary organs like limbs. Where we can see these that is the voluntary organs like limbs, there it is present. Okay. The second type of muscular tissue, that is unstriated muscular tissue, or it is also known as involuntary muscles. Involuntary, or it is also known as smooth muscles. Smooth muscles. So these are unstriated muscle fibers. You know that some involuntary actions such as the movement of foot through the alimentary canal, or the contraction and the relaxation of the blood vessels. You know that these all are not under our control. These are involuntary actions, isn't it? The movement of foot through the alimentary canal and the contraction and relaxation of the blood vessels. In such cases, these muscular tissues are functioning. So, why it is called involuntary muscles? Why it is called involuntary muscles? Because these muscle tissues are not moved according to the, cannot be moved according to the will of a person. According to the will of a person. So, last we studied as what? The previous tissue that can move according to the will of a person. But here, these muscular tissues cannot move according to the will of a person. So, it is called involuntary muscles. Then, why it is called unstriated muscles? Unstriated. Because here we cannot, each muscle cell, we cannot see any striations. There is no striations or light and dark bands. No striations, or there is no alternated light and dark bands. So we can say it as what? Unstriated muscle fibers. And these muscle fibers are also found in, where we can see found in the iris of our eye. Iris of our eye. Then in ureters. In ureters. And also we can found these muscle tissues in the blood vessels. Blood vessels, and also in the bronchi of lungs. Bronchi of lungs. So once again, these muscle fibers are involuntary. Why it is also known as involuntary muscle cells? Because these muscles cannot move according to the will of a person. Then why it is called unstriated muscle fibers? These muscle fibers, we cannot see any striations or light and dark bands. So we can say it as what? Unstriated muscle fibers. Then another one, these muscle fibers are also found where we can see in the iris of our eyes, in ureters, in blood vessels, that is the movement of blood vessels because of the presence of this muscular tissue, and also we can see these muscle tissues in the bronchi of lungs. Then what is its structure? The structure of these muscle fibers. So the structure is, here you can see that these muscle fibers, each muscle fibers of this muscular tissue is elongated with the pointed ends, and there is a nucleus. So this shape is known as spindle shaped. Spindle shaped structures, that is both the ends are pointed, in the middle region it is broad. This shape is spindle shaped. So each muscle fibers or myocytes are spindle shaped. That means it is elongated, then both the ends are pointed, there is no branch, isn't it? And a uninucleated. So the structure is, look at the figure here, that also. Then here it is long, then unbranched, and single nucleus is present inside the cell. That is, it is uninucleated. It is uninucleated. So these type of muscular fibers are That shape is known as what? Spindle shaped, like this, spindle shaped with a single nucleus. Okay, this one is the muscular fibers of unstriated or involuntary muscles. So once again the structure is, it is elongated, unbranched and uninucleated. So that striated muscle fibers we studied as what? They are also long but cylindrical in nature, and that also unbranched but multinucleate. Here it is uninucleated. That's about the structure of this unstriated muscular fiber or involuntary muscles, or it is also known as smooth muscles. Next, the third type is cardiac muscles. Cardiac muscles. So the word cardiac, that you know, it is related to what? Heart, isn't it? So here the body of the heart, that is made up of this type of muscle cells. The body of the heart is made up of what? This cardiac muscle cells. Okay. And what is the function then there? You know that this heart is working throughout our life. So this contraction and relaxation of these heart muscles or cardiac muscles help the movement of this heart throughout the body of life of a person without any fatigue, without undergoing fatigue, isn't it? So that is the function of this cardiac muscles. Once again, the body of the heart is made up of this cardiac muscle, and that cardiac muscle or heart muscles, and the movement of, that is the contraction and relaxation of this cardiac muscle is responsible for the working of the heart throughout the life of a person without undergoing fatigue. Okay. Then next is, it's about structure. About its structure. Look at the figure here. Structure, it also long cylindrical, but it is branched. Last two types we studied, they are unbranched, but here it is cardiac muscles are branched and possess nucleus, that is uninucleated. Each cell consists of single nucleus, so it is uninucleated. So highly branched, then long cylindrical, and it is highly branched and uninucleated. So these are found where only? That is only in the heart. Then these branches are interconnected. These branches are interconnected or intercommunicated. Okay. So look at the figure here. That is, they are cylindrical, elongated. That is cylindrical, and these are interconnected or intercommunicated with the help of branches, isn't it? And you can see that each cell there is a single nucleus, so it is uninucleated. And you can see that faint striations, that means not dark, faint striations on these cells, faint striations. So it is highly branched, and you can see that striations are also here. So it is long, highly branched, then uninucleated. So these are the structure of what are these cardiac muscles. Next is, what is the differences between these three types of muscles? That is striated muscles, unstriated muscles and cardiac muscles. The first one is striated muscle. The muscle fibers are unbranched. There is no branches. Here it is unstriated also, unbranched. But these cardiac muscles are highly branched. Then another difference is striated muscle fibers, they are multinucleated. Here it is uninucleated. Cardiac muscles are also uninucleated. Then the third difference is they are attached with the bones and cartilages. That is the striated muscles. So it is called as what? A skeletal muscles, because they are attached to bones and cartilages, and these unstriated muscles we can found where that is responsible for the movement of alimentary canal, then contraction and relaxation of the lungs, then the movement of intestine. So these are found here, stomach, lungs, intestine, etc. Then these cardiac muscles present where only, that is in the heart. The body of the heart is made up of what? Cardiac muscles. Then these striated muscles soon undergo fatigue. After working some hours, they undergo fatigue. But these unstriated muscles rarely undergo fatigue, but these cardiac muscles never undergo fatigue. That is, these are the differences between the striated muscles, unstriated muscles and cardiac muscles. Next is about nervous tissue. So these nervous tissues are specialized tissue and are responsible for the transmission of information from one place of the body to another, or one place to another within the body. One place or one part of the body to another within the body. Another part of it is within the body. That is the function also. So these are specialized tissues, and these tissues transmit the information from one part of the body to another, that is within the body. And how this transmission occur? These transmission occur in the form of electrochemical signals. This transmission of information passing through the nerve cells in the form of electrochemical signals, or we can say electrochemical impulses. Then what is a nerve impulse? That is, a nerve impulse means the signals that pass through the nerve fiber or pass through the nerve cell is known as what? Nerve impulse. The signals that pass through the nerve cells are called nerve impulse. So once again, these are specialized tissue, and it is responsible for what? The transmission of informations from one part of the body to another. And how this transmission occur? This transmission occur in the form of electrochemical signals. Then these, what do you mean by nerve impulse? The signals that pass through the nerve cells are called nerve impulse. Then you know that this is also a tissue. So this tissue is made up of cells, and each cell of nervous tissue is known as nerve cell, or it is also known as neuron. So each cell of this nervous tissue is known as nerve cell or neuron, and it is the length of this neuron is up to a meter long, and it is the longest cell of the human body, and it is the longest cell. So the nerve cell or neuron, which is the unit of this nervous tissue, and it is its length is up to a meter long, and it is the longest cell of the body. Next is about the structure of a neuron, a single nerve cell. This nerve cell mainly consists of two portions, cytone and an axon. Mainly a nerve cell consists of two portions, a cytone and B, that is axon. So first one is about cytone. This cytone is the main body of this nervous cell. Main body of the nervous cell is the cytone. It consists of thin cell membrane. There is a plasma membrane or thin cell membrane or plasma membrane is present, and there is cytoplasm similar to that of the other cells. There is cytoplasm, and there is a definite nucleus is present, and from this plasma membrane you can see that numerous hair-like projections with the branches. So like this, you can see that numerous hair-like projections or branches. And here you can see that one elongated branch and other numerous smaller branches. These smaller branches are called dendrites. Dendrites. Once again, the main body of the nerve cell is the cytone. This region is the cytone. Cytone, or it is called cell body. Cell body. Then there is plasma membrane. Plasma membrane. Then there is a cytoplasm. Here it is called as neuroplasm. Neuroplasm. Its cytoplasm is called a neuroplasm. And there is a definite nucleus. And from this nucleus, that is from the cytoplasm, numerous branches will arise. These branches are called dendrites, and one of these branches elongated, and this structure is known as what? This structure is the axon. This region is the axon. This is the second portion, axon. This axon region ended with the nerve endings. This region is the nerve ending, axonites. It is also called axonite, nerve ending. Or you can say it as axonite. Axonites. Then this axon region is covered with a sheath. That sheath is known as myelin sheath. Myelin sheath. So these are the structures of what? A nerve cell or a neuron. So here is the mainly two portions are there, a cytone and an axon, and the main body is the cytone or cell body, and it is made up of what? A thin cell membrane or plasma membrane is there. Inside there is a cytoplasm. It is also known as neuroplasm, and there is a definite nucleus. From the cytoplasm, numerous hair-like or finger-like projections are arising, and these branches are called dendrites, and one of the branches is elongated, and that region is called axon. That axon ended with the nerve endings or axonite, and this axon region is covered with a myelin sheath. And inside this cytoplasm, you can see all other cell organelles that we studied, Golgi apparatus, endoplasmic reticulum, etc. So that cell organelles are also present in this cytoplasm. That's about the structure of nerve. Then, so we had completed the structure of neuron. Then another point is, here you can see that 3 neurons are there, isn't it? So in between the neuron, here you can see some gaps. And these gaps, or we can say the junction between two neurons, this junction is known as synapse. So what is synapse? The junction between two neurons is known as synapse. The junction between two neurons. Two neurons is known as what? Synapse. Okay. So here you know that these branches, they receive the impulses or they receive the signals, and these signals transmit through this cytone and through the axon in the form of electric and then chemical signals. Then again these neurons will receive the messages from here, and then transmit through this axon. Then these messages release into the synapse in the form of chemical signals. Again these dendrites receive the messages in the form of electrical signals. Like that, these messages are transmitting from one place of the body to another. Then functions of neuron. These neurons unite to form a nerve. Unite to form a nerve. Then another function is it forms the structural and functional unit of nervous system. Functional unit of nervous system. Okay. The next one is these transmit messages from one place of the body to another part of the body. Okay, and these nerve impulses allow us to move our muscles when we want to. Okay, so these are the these are the functions of neurons. So neurons, they unite to form a nerve, and these forms the structural and functional unit of nervous system, and the main function is this one. These neurons transmit messages from one place of the body to another. The nerve impulses that allow us to move our muscles when we want to. So these are the functions of neurons. And here we completed the muscular tissues and nervous tissue. The functional combination of these nervous tissue and muscular tissues enables the animals to move rapidly in response to a stimuli. So we are responding to the stimuli because of the presence of both these tissues, that is nervous tissue and muscular tissue. So we have completed the second chapter, that is the tissue. So let's recap the whole chapter. So we studied about plant tissue. Then these plant tissues are classified into plant tissue. Then plant tissues are classified into meristematic tissues and permanent tissues. Permanent tissue. Then this meristematic tissues again into 3. They are the apical meristem, intercalary meristem and lateral meristem. Then permanent tissues are again classified into simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. Then simple permanent tissue, we studied about parenchyma, then sclerenchyma and collenchyma. So collenchyma, again we studied about chlorenchyma and arenchyma. Then these complex tissues are again divided into xylem and phloem. Then one more tissue we studied related to plant tissue, that is another one, that is called the protective tissues. Protective tissues. Which are the protective tissue? They are we studied about cork and epidermis. So that's about what plant tissues. The next is about animal tissue. So in animal tissue we studied about animal tissues. We studied about the first one is epithelial tissue, then connective tissue, then muscular tissue and nervous tissue. Then epithelial cells, there are different types of epithelium. They are the squamous epithelium, then stratified squamous epithelium, then columnar epithelium, then seriated columnar epithelium, then cuboidal epithelium, and the sixth one is glandular epithelium. Then important connective tissues we studied: blood, bone, tendons, ligaments, then cartilage, then areolar tissue and adipose tissue. Then muscular tissue we studied 3 muscles. They are the striated, then unstriated, then cardiac. The nervous tissue we studied about nerves. So these are about the animal tissue. So we had completed all these topics. So that chapter is over. Read the text very well and do the homeworks and submit it on time. Okay. Jai Hind to all and thank you.